Hey everyone, Tracy here, and it is Sunday here in Australia. It's summertime, the birds are singing in the garden. Had a lovely relaxing day. We had a walk on the beach, Marco and I, this morning, and I jumped in the ocean for a while. Then we came back and I just spent some time walking around the garden and laying in a hammock, reading and making some reels. Had some lunch and read a book for a while again, and now I'm out in my studio and it's 4 p.m. and I feel like doing some work in my sketchbook. And I've had this photo for ages. We visited the beautiful city of Granada in Spain in 2019. Yes, in 2019. And we were lucky enough to do a 4.5-month trip in Europe that year before everything shut down, before COVID. And Granada was one of my favorite places. I loved it so much that I've booked in another 4 days on our trip this year, in between the retreats that I'm teaching in Spain and Italy. I want to go back. We were there for 3 days last time. Marco was sick last time we were there. He had some kind of sinus infection, so I roamed the streets by myself and sketched in cafes, and he came out when he felt a little bit better. But yeah, I just want to do over. And also last time we didn't get to go to the Alhambra because we didn't realize that we had to buy tickets before. So I've already bought my tickets, so we're all set. But anyway, I've had this image that I took. We were walking back one night from dinner, and the lighting on the church and the sky, everything was just beautiful. There were cats along here too. I can't actually see them in this photo, but maybe they'll make an appearance in the sketch, maybe not. But I've been trying to figure out how to do this one, and I wanted to kind of keep it simple. So I have pulled out a few materials. Having said that I'm going to keep it simple, I've pulled out a few materials. Let's see what I reach for. But I'm thinking that what I might do first is just to pull in the negative space of the sky, okay, which is a technique that lots of illustrators use, and one that we actually worked with while I was recently in Vietnam with the lovely Maru Godas. So I want to just test a few different blues, and I'm going to do that just over here, just to see what feels good for me. It's really important to test your materials. You have a little scribble with them before you get started. That one's quite nice. I think this is the one. So this is ultramarine blue. It's a Neocolor 2 aquarelle crayon. And I'll just leave these pencils over here just in case I want to use them. But I'm just going to start off pulling in the shape of that sky. You'll notice that I have a background already painted, and the colors I've used, the colors that I mixed to create this background were golden fluids. You could use any acrylics though. You could even use acrylic ink with white paint. So I used the nickel azo gold. I used a teeny tiny bit of quinacridone magenta. I used a little bit of Titan buff to lighten it up. And I think there was something else that I used. And I used a little bit of Hansa yellow as well. So those are the colors I used to make this base color, which will kind of show through in some parts of the tree, some parts of the rock. We'll see how it goes as it goes along. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I often don't plan things very well. I let things spontaneously happen. I'm just going to try this one too. That's a bit dark, but that might be good for some of the other tree, for some of this tree here. Let's put those over here, and this one might be good for some details. And then I think I'm going to need like a, let's see, maybe a light yellow, maybe a terracotta pencil. So I'll just grab those. All right, let's see how I go with this. So I won't speak while I'm sketching, but if I think of something that I want to say to you, then I'll stop and talk for a bit. So let's just get started with this negative space, and I'm going to include the whole area like here as well, because I want bits of the blue. Well, actually, I'll include a little bit of this area. I want bits of the blue poking through some of the tree. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's pencil it in first. It's a little bit halfway here. I'm just trying to establish, I'm not doing the whole drawing, I'm just trying to establish where that negative space is, and just get my head around, just to make sure that I don't put it in the wrong place, okay? So it's probably gone a little bit too far over this way, but that's okay. I'm just going to do the tree. Okay, that's enough to get me started. And then down here. You know what? I feel like this needs to be lower. I want a little bit more sky. So this pencil is a luminance pencil, a burnt ochre, and I find it's not taking very well over the top of the paint. So I'm going to change it up here and grab something different. Let's see. Let's bring in some of that tree first. And I wonder how this might work in some of these areas. Let's try a Faber-Castell pencil for some detail. Or even this one is also a Faber-Castell in the black. So sometimes you just have to try a few different things to see, what's going to work for you. This is actually a Sennelier oil pastel, and it is in the red-brown. So even though I'm trying different things, you'll notice that I'm keeping the palette fairly limited. I'm also allowing for the undercolor to show through. see if this white will work on here. Yes, that looks like it will work. Oops, that is. Yeah, let's just make sure this is all in the right place first. I'm going to colour aquarelle as well. This one. Before I go any further, I had a thought to possibly bring a little bit of collage into this one. I have some collage just left over from some other projects that I thought could actually work well. So I'm just going to play around with this for a moment and see whether we can make it work. Now if I add the collage in here, I'm going to need to add a little bit of collage in other areas to have it make sense. What do we think? What do we think? I'm going to leave that there for a moment and then also see if I can address this very bright light in the tree here. So it's kind of like this. Let's move this other way. So just something like that. and darkness. All right, so what I'm thinking about now, part of me feels like it's a bit of a mess, but I think I can save it. What I'm going to try out is this bronze oil pastel on this whole shaded area, because you've got this lovely kind of shading of the shadow of the trees. So I'm just going to see how this feels. If I put in a little bit of the bronze on this side. A part of me is wondering if my whole idea of keeping it simple, whether I've lost that, you know. But hey, we can only learn by trying things out, so I can give it a go. I think that kind of works. No, I'm unsure about this collage idea. And I'm wondering if instead I just keep it to these materials, or at least get a base of some of this down. Okay, let's play with what we have already here. And I'll bring in some of these bronzy colors. A few more of the blues up through here. And bring the blue down this side as well. Just through here. A little bit of black pencil over the top of the crayon. All right, I'm going to try one last thing here. This is a big fat experiment. So I hope you're learning something from it. I just want a little bit of extra contrast. So I'm going to throw in some lines that are not really there, but I'm just going to throw them in to bring some contrast into the piece. This is a white gel pen. It won't work very well over any of the crayons or the oil pastels, so I'm finding some spots in between because I don't want to clog up my gel pen and ruin it. I'm just going to add some extra things in here. Lights here. Okay, I think that's made a pretty big difference. I'm going to deepen this up just a little bit more. This down here is the Caran d'Ache crayon, so I can actually blend it around and get a bit of different texture going. And then it will resist against the oil pastel that's underneath it. So it's actually not intentional, but I actually like what's happening with it now. So I won't do it everywhere, but just in a couple of places. Okay, I'm liking that a lot better now. I'm going to leave the sky as it is. I'm going to, let's see. Add in just a tiny touch more. that will do me. So that was a fun experiment, and I think that what I might like to do is to try this out a few more times and try it out with some different materials, and then just see what feels the best for me. Yeah, so I think there are pluses and minuses with how this has worked, but overall I see it as a good exploratory sketch, working with some different materials when I wasn't sure, you know, what I was going to use and what was going to work with what, and trying to keep it simple but struggling with that as well, with all the angles and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just going to go over quickly what I used because I didn't mention everything as I was using it. So I used the Prussian blue in the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 in all of this, the deepest areas. In the sky I used the Neocolor 2 in the ultramarine, and then I overlaid it with this color, which is cobalt blue, and then another layer of the ultramarine on top. Let's see, what else did I use? I used another Neocolor to bring in some of the yellows and the highlights in some areas. I used a Sennelier oil pastel in, what did that say? Was it a red brown or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah, red brown. So, you know, just be aware that all of these things, like the oil pastel, is not going to allow for the gel pen to go over the top, that type of thing. So good to try things out, but also to know, you know, hey, if you wanted highlights, it might have been better to use something other than the crayons and the oil pastels. This was just a Faber-Castell black pencil, a Schwartz black 199, a white gel pen, and a bronze, where did that one go here? A cheapy student bronze oil pastel, and I think that was up there. Oh, and then I tried a little bit with this, the Holbein white pencil. It didn't really do a lot, so I'm not sure whether it's even noticeable there. I was just trying to bring a little bit more highlight into that area. But yeah, overall, I am pretty happy with this little exploration. And I shall just make a note that it was Granada 2019, and I sketched it today on the 27th of January 23. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. See you soon.